Hey, it's Pastor Dan from Dexter Gospel Church with another Proverbs Practical. Thanks for watching. In this video, for the first time ever, I think we're going to cover 3 verses. And in this case, it's because they all lump together to form a poetic depiction of a terrible danger. We're looking now at some of the risks of addiction to alcohol, as the father warns his son against that. We're in Proverbs 23, and I'm going to begin in verse 33. So Proverbs 23:33 says, "Thine eyes shall behold strange women, and thine heart shall utter perverse things." So talking to a son about the dangers of being overindulgent or addicted to alcohol, he says one of the dangers really links up with the other. The first danger he'd warned him about was the strange woman, the prostitute, the woman looking to take advantage of him. And it's a whole lot easier to fall prey to the wiles of such a woman while under the influence of alcohol. People can make terrible decisions when they're drunk, and that seems especially true in the realm of romance. There's all kinds of jokes out there about how people look different through drunk eyes than through sober, about, waking up with a hangover and somebody you don't know in bed beside you, and so on. And those jokes have the edge that they do because they're connected to reality. The more he had to drink, the more vulnerable the young man would be to the women who would prey upon his position and power. Now, we might not be princes, but we're all capable of making terrible decisions about relationships. And removing our inhibitions, or removing our ability to process long-term outcomes, depending on whose view of the effects of alcohol you take, doesn't help at all. And it's not just relationships. Alcohol can kill inhibitions or long-range thinking across the boards and thus lead to us making terrible, destructive decisions. The second phrase of the verse says that the drunkard's heart would utter perverse things. His morality and views and actions could end up twisted from what they would be if he were thinking with a clear mind. It wouldn't just be his mouth making foolish commitments or statements. He would be speaking from his heart. But his heart wouldn't be saying what it normally would say either if he had complete control of his faculties, if he could think through all the implications of what he was saying. Instead, his heart would be telling him things that were twisted from the way that God said them. And being drunk, he wouldn't have the wisdom to discern that his own heart was deceiving and betraying him. He would end up acting on urges that he never would have acted on if he were sober. He wouldn't be stable. And that's where the next verse goes. Verse 34 says, "Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea, or as he that lieth upon the top of a mast." Well, it's a vivid picture of someone staggering and reeling. It's grabbing that metaphor about how the drunk person feels and walks. Maybe you've seen someone who's drunk kind of staggering their way down a sidewalk, lurching from side to side. And he's describing it in a way that anybody who had stood by the Mediterranean Sea or even the Sea of Galilee and watched a ship in a storm could understand. The drunk person isn't stable. They're not steady. They're not steady of hand, foot, eye, or life. It's like they laid down on the water and tried to float through a storm, pitched every which way by the waves. Worse even, it's like they laid down on top of a mast of a ship going into a storm. And of course, as the ship tilts, that mast sticking out above the rest of the ship, it would travel the farthest distance of any part of the ship as the waves rocked and tipped that ship back and forth. Life might be the storm, knocking the person around, but alcohol could be the mast, making the movements even more pronounced and dramatic. And yet the crazy thing is that the drunkard still wants more. Verse 35, the last verse here says, "They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again." So another poetic description, this time of the disorientation and the memory lapses that someone who gets drunk can experience. They might go through things that would harm someone who wasn't drunk, or they might find that drunkenness relieves the pain of other experiences. They might feel like they enter a dreamlike state where reality can't impinge or harm or bother them. Many a person drinks, not because they love the taste or look of alcohol, but because it helps them escape or deal with some pain. But the danger of addiction is there, of uncontrollably seeking after the thing no matter the results. Whether one perceives the effects of alcohol as positive or negative, appreciating it numbing the pain of the beating, or realizing that it bit like a viper, they go out after it again. Even people who recognize what drunkenness is doing to them, even people who have had relationships destroyed, occupations lost, physical damage to themselves or others, often have a hard time turning away from it. And I would note that any addiction can be a dangerous thing, whether it's to sugar, alcohol, pornography, a computer game, tobacco, social media, or anything else. When a substance, an object, or an activity controls our behavior, demands that we do it no matter the cost, that means the Holy Spirit doesn't have complete control of that part of our behavior. So be careful. Don't let anything push you to where you pursue it to the point that it's detrimental or destructive to you. I hope this video is a help to you. If so, hit the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more content like it. As always, we'd love to see you in the comments, and we'd love to see you in person here at Dexter Gospel Church. Until next time, I hope you stay well and avoid addictions.